Welcome, property investors. This is the Building in Perth podcast with your two hosts, Chris Holland and Tony Hyde. If you're a property investor or you're curious about investing in property in Western Australia, this is the podcast for you. The reason for that is we're not going to hold back. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're certainly not going to bullshit you, and we're going to exploit everything that you need to know. Every month we're going to have special guests on, industry professionals, and then we're going to release an episode every single Monday. So you're not going to miss anything. So please stay tuned, like and subscribe so you never miss anything, and enjoy.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Building in Perth podcast with your host Tony Hyde and
Chris Holland.
Hi, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas and all the good stuff.
Happy New Year, mate.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good.
What did you get for Christmas? That fantastic
This
moustache. Oh, absolutely. How good
10
is that?
10 seconds before it
That's ridiculously good.
How good is it?
No, it's pretty good. It's finally hit puberty in you there, mate. Well done. You're growing up. My boy's grown
brilliant.
up.
That was good. It was good. Christmas was good. Fucking didn't open my email until yesterday, which is unreal. Over 100 emails just switched off for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
man.
I think the year we had last year, we all went through. I think it was kind of the same. I wasn't even planning coming back today, but I thought I'd come in and give the listeners what they need, and then get the weekend out, and then back on it next week. So,
yep.
So today I want to talk about infrastructure and what's happening in WA, Perth, essentially, and reasons why you want to invest in Perth. Some of the good stuff, So talk a little bit about infrastructure. What is infrastructure?
Basically, fucking your amenities. What's happening? Train lines, fucking shopping centres, anything of that nature. Airport. Infrastructure is huge. The more infrastructure, the more value of the property goes up, essentially. And it goes without saying. Look at Sydney compared to Perth. Perth has got very minimal infrastructure compared to Sydney, but look at the value of the houses in Sydney. So the more infrastructure that comes in, the more houses that get built, the more value goes up.
So what happens is, like, when all these big land agents, land projects, developers buy the land, they've got to apply through the government, very layman's terms, to make sure they've got the right amount of amenities. They can't put like 7,000 houses somewhere and have no hospitals or no train lines and roads. So that's how it works. It's all worked in when you see all these projected areas, and sometimes they don't transpire anything, they've just got to do it to make sure the amenities. So the big example right now is Joondalup, right? That's growing massively, right up to Yanchep, which is definitely one of the areas we want to talk about. That Joondalup Hospital, they're almost talking about having another one there because Joondalup Hospital's getting stretched because they have to have an emergency department. Too many people there. So the kind of areas I want to talk about that we see the biggest growth and good places to invest in because you'll get return on investment a little bit cheaper and stuff. Big one will be Yanchep, Ellenbrook, and Garden Island, and what that provides out towards Rockingham, Baldivis and all that. Then the Freo Port relocation, which is going to absolutely dominate Kwinana, Bertram, all that area. And then talk a little bit about Pinjarra Hub. So I think it's a little bit of a secret, but I know a little bit about it, and I'll talk about that later. But Chris, you kind of all over the Yanchep stuff, so let's know what's going to happen up there.
Yanchep's unreal. So there was studies about 3 or 4 years ago. I was reading that it was going to be the fastest growing suburb in Australia, and it's still on track to be. So I think it was 17,000 people 2 years ago in Yanchep, and it's tipped to be 117,000 in 10 years. So 100,000 people more extra. Now Yanchep, if you live in WA, is middle of nowhere, as what people would say. But really, it's an hour north of the CBD. It's 1 hour, and it's right on the coastline. But predominantly the northern suburb prior to that was Joondalup, or you've got Burns Beach and stuff like that. There's a couple other little suburbs at Alkimos, but essentially you've got about a half an hour drive from the CBD north, and that hits that Joondalup sort of catchment area, and then Yanchep's another half an hour, but there's nothing in between. It's just basically desert land. So they're basically building out an hour away, and then they're going to start coming back, which means in 10 years' time, that's all going to be connected, and it's not going to be that far away anymore. But this is right on the ocean. This is what I can't get. It's so cheap. Like, you're talking $400,000, $450,000 house and land package, fully done, 2 universities, golf courses, and loads of infrastructure, ocean living, affordable living, a train line, so if you can still work in the CBD, you can still commute to the CBD. But let's be honest, 1 hour from the CBD is not actually that far, is it?
Unless you're in WA, where that's horrendous. People just can't. Oh, it's not WA. Living in WA. It's a lot of people, old people from the WA kind of background, like, oh, I'm not living an hour outside. You talk to anyone, and I'm from Glasgow,
Any
stuff
capital
like that.
city,
They're all, even living in Glasgow, it takes you 45 minutes to get into Glasgow from Paisley. 11 miles.
That's right.
You're talking now Sydney and all that. That's a dream for them an hour outside. You know, it's nothing for them. Plus,
no traffic
so
either.
It's 56 kilometres for the CBD, and it takes 55 minutes on the train. And the train line will be in there, I think it's starting this year, in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's unreal. I think Yanchep's literally an absolute no-brainer. We've done, I don't know, maybe 15 packages or something last year, and every single package is now positively geared. That's right. Yeah, they've got instant equity from the time that we bought the land, built the house, gave the client the keys, and these are owner-occupiers, not investors. The clients now get equity immediately, and that's not going to change in Yanchep for the foreseeable future, I don't think.
We've done a couple of deals just a little bit further north, up in like Eglinton and all that area. It's the same sort of area, and the equity, the size of houses and land we're getting for the money, it's phenomenal what they're getting from it.
I remember I done one. Sorry, Tony, to interrupt. I done one that was ocean views, and the land was 99 grand for home buyers. So it was a townhouse with ocean views. I don't know, say 250 metres from the beach, and the actual block of land itself was only 99 grand. The whole package, I think, was 360 for a double-storey townhouse overlooking the ocean. After a 60k deposit, your repayments are about $310 a week for your own house with ocean views. So,
give you some numbers for Yanchep right now. The median house price up there is about 450, 460k, right? That's a median house price. Yeah. You still build a little bit cheaper than that. Yeah. Your rent at the moment in Yanchep, without the train station being there, is on average about $470 per week, which is giving you over 5% yield on your return on investment, which is perfect, right? Because that's only going to get better. Yeah. It can't go down. So, look, we've spoke about Golden Bay and all that down south. It's the same sort of thing, right? But and that's what take us. So we'll go from north all the way right down south and talk about why Rockingham, Golden Bay, Baldivis, Port Kennedy, and we had Leon from Parcel probably talking about that parcel, the Port Kennedy links. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and look, she talk about the minis they're putting in there. You know, the was it the pub they're putting in there and stuff. Yeah. So what's really good with Rockingham and not building? They've got Garden Island, which is a Navy base. Yeah. And I know a little bit about this because I've got some insider knowledge on this stuff. But they've just spent billions on a new submarine training school because they're about to buy nuclear subs. Not going into that, that's for another day, but that's what we've got now. A lot of the submariners are going to get trained at Rockingham now.
So that's Australia-wide then, obviously.
All that. Plus, then they have to be based there. Plus, what they've got submarines in and they've always got one that's called impermanent refit, so they're in for 2 years getting it re-stripped and fixed, right? So those submariners are on leave. They have to do shore-based stuff. So if they're based at Rockingham, they need to live there. Now, a lot of them don't want to live there for a year, 18 months, they're only posted for 6 months. So what have they got? The Armed Forces have got a thing called the DHA, Defence Housing Association.
Which we spoke about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, episode 1, I think we spoke about it, episode 3. And this is why this area is unbelievable because, Chris, what did the DHA give you?
Guaranteed money, basically. So what they'll do, they'll pay you above award rate for your weekly rent. So let's say the average in Rockingham is $500 a week. They'll give you $550 a week. But they'll also give you a guaranteed 6-year locked-in contract with an extension, with an option to extend by an extra 3 years if you want. So a 9-year, $550 fixed weekly rent return, regardless if someone's living there or not. Now, you have to build the house to specific criterias, but nothing that actually costs any more money. That's a good thing.
It's like a locked double garage and things like that. It's simple.
It's very simple, but yeah, there is specifications that you've got to build it to, but it doesn't cost any more money. So 9 years guaranteed, above award rate. Forget about interest rates and fucking inflation and all that. It's fixed and that's it. And then at the end of that 9 years, or 6 years if you only choose to do the 6-year option, they redo the floor because it's a vinyl plank flooring. So they actually rip it up, redo the flooring, repaint it and re-landscape it. So it looks brand new, basically, once you get it back.
So it's almost like buy, build, lock, set and forget, right?
Yeah.
And if it's in a good area, especially in the Rockingham area, and there's some real cracking parcels of land in Rockingham, Rocky on Foreshore is all about the redevelop, but we're not going into that because we're not really sure where that's happening, because the old boy that down there that owned the pub and all that, he's passed away, so there's a big fight between the families about who's selling the land and all that. Yeah, because what he done is quickly, he owned Liquid's nightclub in the Rocky pub, and he had a big bit of land as a car park, beautiful place, and he kept it free so people could just park there for free. Now the old boy's died, the kids want to sell it because it's prime real estate, and everyone's fighting it because as soon as they sell it to the council, because that's who'll win it, everything will revert back to having to pay to go down to Rocky Foreshore, and it'll kill the drive down there. So there's a big thing on that. But whatever happens there, Rocky Foreshore has got that new jetty and all that development coming in there. Sorry, Rocky on Foreshore. But the Navy base is a golden ticket down there, because if you get them in the DHA and have a few of them, it's lock and forget. And again, they manage it all as well. They do all the property management.
That's right.
You don't do anything. You
don't
leave
do
it alone.
anything. No.
You can
You
rent
just get your
inspections.
money.
They cover it off, and you don't have to worry about, because they might have sailors in there for 3 months, in and out 3 months. And it's not just sailors. We talk sailors because that's Rocky and right because of the Garden Island. But they're in and out. So that's something, if you need to more about, come and let us know, speak to us, and we can certainly point you in the direction and help you do it. Or we've got the connection, so we can look after it for you and just build it and then go, that's the person you're dealing with.
Oh, we can do it all. So interestingly, so you know that I'm doing a development in Secret Harbour through the DHA. Exact same thing, and over a 9-year fixed rent return of 550. So that figure was based on my own 4x2 that I'm building. If I put in an extra $210 a week by the end of that 9 years, so the 550 is covered, right, which is positively geared from what my mortgage is going to be after my deposit. If I put an extra $210 a week, by that 9 years, completely mortgage free. So it's only going to cost me $210 at my own pocket, which not really, because I'm actually positive gearing. But anyway, put in that $210, and after 9 years, I'm done.
And Secret
Harbour's
Harbour,
house and land done forever.
Secret Harbour's a gem because they can't build anymore, and Secret Harbour is done. It's completed. It was only a small little pocket, and it's right on the beach. It's got a beautiful big surf club, cracking boozer, golf course is unreal. And they can't build it, and I know the zoning there, they can't subdivide it. So you're sitting on nice big blocks. So you're going to be bumping up to $600,000-$700,000 houses in the next few years. Think of the equity that you know and go and just build another 10 houses with.
And mine's was $440,000 house and land.
It wasn't about 600. So they're there, guys, and if especially for your over east investors, if you're not sure, give us a shout, reach out to us. This is what we do. We'll do and help you. And it's not just us. We've got, like you said, we've seen Lee from Parcel Property. We've got other real estate agents, other builders, and over the next few months, you're going to meet some of these guys on this podcast.
Adam Donnelly.
I'm Donnelly, our real estate agent, real good friend of ours. Paula up north. Kim from Thingway Agents.
You're just making that name up now.
No, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, right, so that's
Turner.
That's it. Hey, your memory is unreal sometimes. So let's go down over to, where do you want to go now? Let's talk about Freoport.
Freoport, this one's exciting for me, I think. So I never knew about this shift, so you can explain what's actually happening first, and then I'll take over the land side of it.
Yeah, so what's happened, right? So Freoport is based in the middle of Freo, right? Prime real estate land, but it's actually getting to, they dredged it out years ago so they could get the shipping containers in, and it's too big now. They can't, they've got to come in through the wharf, it's a bit too hard. So what they've done is the BP refinery, I think, selling up and moving, which is down in Kwinana based, right? And the port's bought that. So over the next 10 years, by 2020, 2032, the whole of the Freoport's going to relocate down there. It's a whole new big division to Kwinana. It's going to be there, they've got, and it's an easier in and out. So
I'm assuming that's down at the end of Anketel Road, is it?
Right down there, yeah.
God, so, if only I lived off Anketel Road.
So think about all those areas. So the areas that are literally Hammerlow catchment right there is you go right from Kwinana is the main one.
Medina.
Bertram, Medina, even Baldivis if you want it, because it just sits at the top.
Baldivis North.
Then you come up to Coburn.
Yep. Brilliant. Unbelievable. So one day.
It's everything.
Hammond Park.
All of that's within 20 minutes away. 20 minutes.
So 6167 is the postcode if you want to Google it and have a look at the postcode. But to give you an idea, Medina, Bertram, Hammond, Kwinana, sorry, specifically Kwinana. $400,000, $430,000 house and land. It's got, obviously, like everything, inflation, everything's going up, but these are dirt cheap bits of property. The house and land, $420,000, let's say, and this is only 35 minutes from the CBD, and it's 5 minutes from the ocean, 10 minutes from the ocean,
and 10 from Freo. Next
to the Kwinana Motorplex, 10 from Fremantle, 10, 15 from Rockingham, 25 minutes from Coburn, let's say. It's Kwinana's, my golf club, or our golf club's there, Kwinana Golf Club, big shout out to them.
Tell you I want a comp. We go.
So I think that's out of the pick of these 5 that we're talking about. That's my favourite one. That's where I would be putting my money right this minute.
It's huge, right? So
it's just so cheap.
A couple of things that are probably, if you read on now, you'll see like, oh, they don't have some infrastructure. So it doesn't have a train line from Rockingham to Fremantle. You have to go through Coburn, or if you're coming out East Thornley. But if you do a bit more digging, you find out that it's been lobbied. So they do want there is going to be a train line. Well, they will push to get a train line from Rockingham into Fremantle, which means it'll pass by Quinana, which is going to be perfect, right? And then you're going to get a train line from Thornley down through the Coburn line. So that's going to then connect everything in to get into those areas, which is just, again, we talk about infrastructure, amenities. Yeah. There's so much land down behind Monogallop Road and down, what's the word? I can't think. But in the
Henderson.
Where the 10 Mile Tavern sits. There's like just empty land, and it's all for commercial. But I don't think I think it'll be.
Eventually.
I think it's all Waddle Up.
Yeah.
And they kicked everyone out there 20 years ago to build this port, and they've never done it. And
now it's happening.
It's happening. So
I live 2 minutes from there.
I'm like 10, I'm 15 down the road as well. So again, there's not huge amounts of information on the Freo port location, but that's there. But what's going to happen there is when they move the port, where the port sits, what's going to happen there? It's going to literally be luxury apartments.
For sure.
All the stuff that comes with all that, hotels.
Yeah. Man-made beach.
So, apartments and things like that, we can build them as well, we just get into it, we know the right people. What do you do with that? You Airbnb them. Yeah. You get your return on investment, because Freo is cool when you get down there. It's pretty different, it's pretty hippie-ish, but it's pretty cool.
I guess it's like your St Kilda if you're from Melbourne, or your Coogee, as you say over there in Sydney, your Coogee. It's that sort of vibe, that sort of hippie beach surfer, smoke pot, drink loads of beer.
Craft beer.
Craft beer, that's right, IPA and shit.
Swan draft for the win, boys. That's it. Anyway, look, so there's another couple ones I want to talk about is Ellenbrook, right? So Ellenbrook's out east, so it's probably, it's about 35 minutes from the city. It was developed years ago, and they were always promised a train line, and it never transpired. So they had like 65,000 people out of this Ellenbrook area without a train line, but the train line is imminent, like this year, and it's going to have like 7 stops through Morley and all that, and Brabham, all the way up through there, which is,
it's just expanding.
And what's perfect for that is the Swan Valley. So you've got all the wineries and that, but also if you're in the FIFO, it's so close to the Perth airport. Yeah. Like it's 10-15 minutes. Yeah. And again,
Caversham Wildlife Park. Yeah. Whitman's Edge. It's a different style of living to the areas that we've just spoke about. Yanchep, Fremantle, Rockingham, Quinana, they're very coastal, they're very beachy. This is the opposite side of Perth, and the hills as such. And like you said, the Swan Valley's beautiful, obviously wineries and stuff like that. It's a totally different style of living, but it's its own little vibrant hub, man. It's huge. It's like massive. Brand new shopping centres and good pub, which is replicated from the pub that I drink at the gate. It's called The Brook. Golf courses, championship golf courses, like everything. It's got everything.
And the infrastructure going up there is unreal. You kind of drive, and you've got all these big straight roads, and then all of a sudden you just hit Ellenbrook and Brabham, and you just see all these houses, and it's its own little city, right? Yeah. And it's been touted to be sort of thing like, so Joondalups so you got Perth City, Joondalups a hub, Coburn's a hub, Rocky's slowly getting there, Ellenbrook's reckon it's going to be one of the big main hubs, so you're going to have these 4 or 5 big main hubs in Perth area, and the Ellenbrook's touted to be one of them because of the way they've developed the city.
They just redeveloped the sports complex up there, didn't they? And they put all those 4G Astrograss football pitches and stuff like that in. So I've actually played on them. That's unbelievable, obviously. So there's a big push for young families, I would say. That would be a good spot for Ellenbrook. Family community and all that type of stuff and whatnot, which again, for investors, people just can't get enough. And it is dirt cheap. Again, you're talking less than $500,000. You can get a package up there. And yeah, just to let that sink in for Eastern States investors, that's so cheap. It's still 35 minutes from the CBD. Like it's still so close.
If you live in WA and you've been brought up here, $500,000 is like Jesus living out there.
Yeah.
Over East, that's like a drop in the ocean compared to this. We're just trying to bring this realism back to you of why over East investors are investing in Perth. Yeah. And all of this is backed up by the fact that we've got a massive booming mining industry.
Yep.
We can't get enough workers. Like there's 20,000. there's 20,000 shortage of jobs just for that industries alone, you know. So plus we don't have enough houses, so if it's time to invest, it's time to invest now and get
100%.
Because we know some builders, especially one builder that's offering a 6-month build time out there. Do you know who they are? CC West, I think. Yeah, that's it. And the last little one as well that's I think it's a real bit of a secret. I don't know if people know, it's Pinjarra. So Pinjarra's about 45, 50, probably an hour south of Perth.
Yeah, I would say an hour.
And go inland a little bit. So Pinjarra,
southeast.
It's got a great bakery.
Yeah.
But it's classed as a little hub to the southeast, right? So there's a few distribution centres there. A lot of big companies from I know this from being working at Coca-Cola back in the day. They send a lot of their pallets there. So you think Coca-Cola delivers it all? It goes down there, and then one company puts on the Coke products, the Cadbury's products, the Pepsi, and then they go down east, and it's just to save transport costs. Yeah. That's growing. Yeah. And there's a lot of investment going down in the Pinjarra hub. More so you got Thomas Road, Tonkin Highway. They're actually connecting, you know, where Tonkin hits Thomas, from Thomas right across to the South West Highway. It's like a 14-kilometre stretch. So it's going to take about an hour or like 20-minute journey out.
Do you know who owns that block of land? And they had to buy him. The government had to pay him money so they could drive through his land. Twiggy Forrest.
Sorry, he's too smart.
15 years ago he bought that up, and he knew that's what was going to happen.
Insider knowledge is the best there. So what's going to happen down there is they're going to, it's already happening, is they're developing the industrial area, putting bigger in warehouses so they can support the southeast, because there's more and more people moving down that way, right? 100%. So areas around where you want to be. So if you want to be living down that Hilbert, Haynes, Wandy, that area, you're only 20 minutes to Pinjarra, and you're going to
even Mundijong, mate. Even Mundijong, you know, you're 10 minutes out of Pinjarra, in between that, in massive blocks of land, and yeah, there's ample. Whitby's another good one.
Button down Byford, yeah. So there's plenty of estates, and when we talk of dirt cheap, we're talking dirt cheap,
even
big
cheaper,
blocks, big blocks out in the sticks, no bother. Yeah. And there's a couple of cracking, if you know good boozers and that down there. The Kings Road Brewery is really good down there as well. That's awesome. Yeah. But that's kind of just what to just talk on those 5 sort of main areas of we see where the biggest growth's going to come.
Which is interesting, because if you look at where they are on the map, we've went northeast, we've went southeast, we've went northwest, southwest, and then west, and we've not actually hit anywhere near the CBD. So that's why they're so cheap. These figures that we're telling you are so cheap, because we're away from the CBD, we're away from the freeway, we're away from the population and the transport and the traffic and all that type of stuff. These are on the outskirts of Perth Metro, and yeah, you can't lose. They're just going to keep going up.
The growth is just going to go past these areas because there's nowhere else to go.
100%.
You know, I think Lee spoke about it the other days. Like, sometimes when you're buying, sometimes you can't buy your dream home. You got to just buy somewhere. And if you want to get back to the city, you build up your equity, you buy big houses. We've all done it. You ask your parents, you know, if the young ones out there, it's all happening. But also an investor, if you buy as a first home, you can sit there, then move and leave that home as an investment package. That's right. You know, my big grounds, don't sell your houses, just use investment, keep
100%,
going,
keep it,
and make it work.
Yep, absolutely.
So a real kind of short one for us today, guys. We just want to touch on why you should invest in Perth, because there is heaps of amounts of infrastructure coming in, and this is, like we've talked about, the next 10 years. So what else is going to pop up? God knows. It's not going to stop, right? So you know, a big step for him. If you want to know places to invest, look where Stocklands and Sattler are building their land. They're a big step for him, because communities follow those guys.
It's basically a cheat sheet, isn't it? just whatever they're building, just go right. I'll build there.
But so we've got some really exciting stuff coming up in the new year, which we're really excited about. We've got some builders coming in. We've got some suppliers who are going to tell you the truth about the supplies and what happened. Yeah. Give us the truth about that bloody ship. Did it pass us the tank all the way, or did it not? I can't wait to hear about that.
To Canada,
and good, again, like, comment, post. Let us know what you want to hear about. What we're missing. What's something you need to know about? And we'll get it done.
They just want to know what the giveaway is this week.
I don't know. The giveaway is just you can come on and just tell us what you think for free. We'll buy you a beer. That's really what we're going to do.
Yes, Sam.
I can't believe you get come and stroke Chris's moustache.
It's so good.
No, it's the best.
It took me 6 months to grow this.
Yeah. If we can get someone to tell us exactly who you want to hear from, Like, so what sort of person in the industry would be great. You know, we'll just keep plodding along with who we think's and where we're at, and then we'll go from there.
Also, we're in the hunt, may as well do it while we're here. We're in the hunt for a social media manager. If anyone wants to come and look after our social media, please inquire as soon as possible. You'll be doing everything regarding social media with the podcast, posting, blah, 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 getting on guests, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could do that. Then I don't have to plug my computer down here and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.